Hi, and welcome to the latest in Digital Spy's video reviews of the biggest movies around. This time we're looking at Joker, and if you like what you see, don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to our channel below for more of our video content. I'm Ian, and if I was a DC villain, I'd be the Riddler.
Does anybody else feel like a fried egg?
I'm Gabriella, and if I were a DC villain, I would be Poison Ivy.
Honey, clean up this mess. We've got company coming.
Fear not, this will be a spoiler-free look at Joker, so you don't have to worry about us ruining the film for you. The film is set in 1980s Gotham City, which is in a city-wide emergency over the levels of trash. We follow Arthur Fleck, a jobbing clown who really just wants to be a stand-up comedian. He feels let down by society, so what will happen when he's pushed to his limits and finally snaps? I feel the first thing we need to talk about with this film is Joaquin Phoenix's performance, because I thought he was absolutely amazing.
Oh yeah, for sure. He definitely embodies the transition of that character throughout the movie, and you really can see it come through. And also, you have to talk about his physicality.
Yeah,
I mean, not just the weight he lost, I mean, that's incredible too, but the control he has over his body throughout the whole movie is incredible.
Yeah, he's weirdly graceful at times, isn't it? It's like the dance things you wouldn't necessarily expect from the character who is mentally ill and suffers from this illness where he just breaks into laughter, and I still can't get that laugh out of my head. Like, it is genuinely menacing and unsettling. I can't forget it. And
I like the idea of laughing at inappropriate times, because we use laughter to cover so many things, to cover anxiety and nerves and you know, even when you like someone and you giggle at their joke, laughter does so much. So for him to use it in this very subversive way was really, really cool.
It's just a totally committed performance, and I don't really want to get into the whole comparing to previous Jokers, because I don't think you can with this. Like, it feels very much Joker in name only for most of the film.
Yeah.
But like, as you say, when he becomes closer and closer to what we expect from the Joker, you do see these subtle changes in his performance, which just makes it, just takes it up another notch. Because it's easy, it's one thing to just be unsettling, but it's another to like suddenly switch and become a little bit more confident. It's like the little body movements and stuff like that.
Absolutely. He definitely makes it his own, I think.
Is something funny? Stay down, freak!
When it comes to Phoenix's performance, he helps to create this tone over the film that it's essentially 2 hours of being super uncomfortable in your cinema seat. So it's not necessarily the easiest watch I found.
No, not at all. Yeah, the tone, just visually, everything is so bleak and so dark. Not poorly lit dark, but just emotionally dark. But you really feel the uneasiness in Gotham City as well, I think. And for me, growing up in New York City, it's hard not to draw the parallels, you know, between Gotham and New York. And it was very interesting to see how they shaped this imaginary world that is still kind of tangentially real. It did feel like it could be a real city on the brink of explosion, really.
Yeah, and it, as you mentioned there, like, it does look amazing. Like, even though it is dark and it's all starkly shot, and it just looks beautiful, really, in like its darkness. I mean, you wouldn't necessarily want some of it as an artwork on your wall, because you'd just be like,
right.
oh, I remember when how that scene left me feeling.
Yeah, and
but it does look great and it sounds amazing.
Yeah, and I feel like so many superhero, and not that this is a superhero movie especially, but
that's a whole other topic.
Yeah, yes, that is. These kinds of movies that take place in these fictional superhero worlds are often very like bright and technicolor, and this felt a lot more gritty and realistic. And the sound as well, the score is unbelievable, and it goes back to that unsettling thing, but it also helps you clue into I think what Joker's thinking and feeling, and as he's kind of developing as a character, the score follows him in that way. So it really informs you emotionally to connect with that character.
It feels that you definitely never leave him though, do you? Like, that's
No.
part of the style, is that there's so many like really super close-ups, and it's like if the camera just doesn't move, it's especially when he's having one of his laughing fits, it just stays there, and you're kind of you're willing it in your head to like go away.
Yeah.
It just doesn't let you. There's no let up. And even in the slightly lighter moments, it's a little bit like you say, you never feel like you can have a release. Like, it's light, but it's tinged with darkness. You're not quite sure if you should be laughing at certain moments in it. But what did you feel? Do you feel there are genuine moments of humour, or do you think that's just Todd Phillips trying to get you to decide how you feel about something?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that there were any moments of humor per se. I think And the moments of humor were, like you said, tinged with this kind of like understanding of, you know, I mean, you sort of know what's coming, but also the whole setting of it makes it it's uncomfortable humor, which I think is part of the point too of how we deal with these kinds of things in our lives that might make us uncomfortable. Is we do try and find humor in things, and that goes back to the laughter, right? And what we use laughter to express for ourselves and to like signal to other people as well. So yeah, I felt it was a lot. It definitely was a lot.
It feels like we really can't talk about Joker without talking about the wider issue it's created within the industry and on Twitter and everywhere that you're looking. It's still a week from release, but there's already people talking about worrying about its violent content and the fact that it follows Joker and the worry that he's going to get turned into a sort of Loki-esque anti-hero that you can cheer for as an audience. How did you feel when it came to the violence in the film, the darker moments?
I mean, the movie itself isn't particular. I mean, it's violent, of course, but it's not Quentin Tarantino violent. No. It's not blood-soaked and drenched and kind of
There's definitely blood.
Gore. There's blood.
But it comes really quickly and sharp, and it kind of feels like it's there.
Not. I'm hesitant to say it's not gratuitous. It's almost not gratuitous. It's on the edge. It's on the edge. You know, it's interesting. There's been a lot of conversation around what Joker does, and I think as much as we might want to examine art in a vacuum, it's hard to ignore the kind of cultural context that this movie is taking place in. Yeah. And I think as an audience member, you definitely know that Joker is an unstable person with this, violent streak in him, and you as an audience member are able to make that distinction. The problem for me came in with the conversation that was happening around it, particularly from Todd Phillips and Joaquin Phoenix, and the way that they were trying to contextualize the movie they'd made. Because then when you go and you see it, you have to be able to make up your mind for yourself. Yeah. And I felt a bit like they were trying to, in their conversation around it, make up your mind for you a little bit.
A little bit, but I think my main issue with it is that yes, you're right in that Joker is quite clearly a psychopath. There's like moments where he is in danger and he fights back in sort of self-defense, but then just goes in cold-blooded to kill someone like pretty much straight after he tracks someone down. So that's the kind of thing. Like you're not mistaken that he is that person, but it feels like they have one point to make about why he's that person and just carry on making it. It feels like as much as they're like, yeah, it's great to create a discussion in a film, the film doesn't have enough meat on its bones to allow you to make that decision. Yeah. Like it's not two different sides of the story. You kind of get one story, and that's society's terrible. This is what happens. Yeah. Kind of, and it kind of makes it again and again and again.
It leaves the onus on the audience to challenge it, which I guess is fair. I just think that if you're going to go with that, then you have to accept that, and then you have to own that decision. And that's fine, but you have to own that decision.
Yeah, totally. And obviously we're talking around it now because there is definitely a moment in the final act that has a mixed message, shall we say, but we'll get into that in our spoiler video, which you'll be able to see after release, so come back there if you want to know what we're trying to not spoil for you right now.
I used to think that my life was a tragedy. But now I realize it's a comedy.
So, is there anything we haven't covered that is particularly disappointed about the film, or anything else you want to highlight?
I feel like I was a little disappointed in Zazie Beetz' lack of screen time and lack of development. I felt like she was the only kind of normal foil for everybody else in the film, and it didn't quite give us enough of her in it. And she's such a strong actress, and I feel like that was a bit of a disappointment for me personally.
Yeah, it is very much Joaquin Phoenix's show, and if you're going to make a one-man movie about anyone, like, you want a performance like that. But yeah, everyone else, they do very much feel like cameos. Like Robert De Niro is fun, and he's like King of Comedy-esque homage as the talk show host Murray Franklin, who Arthur is obsessed with. But there's no other role in it that I can remember that will stick in the memory. There's nothing that like directly really even impacts on the plot. I felt it's all through Arthur. It's very much Arthur's point of view
and they're
throughout it.
For Arthur, so it's for his transition, and that's what those characters are there to serve. Which, but it's just disappointing for me as a viewer to especially when you're led to believe that her role is maybe a little more critical to the plot than it turns out to be.
I have some bad news for you.
You don't listen, do you? You just ask the same questions every week. How's your job? Are you having any negative thoughts? All I have are negative thoughts. Can you introduce me as Joker? Send in the clowns.
So there we have it. Joker, for us, bit of a mixed bag, but Joaquin Phoenix definitely worth seeing for his performance.
Absolutely.
And the look and the style is very much made for the big screen, I felt.
Absolutely.
Joker, you can see for yourself when it hits cinemas on October 4th. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to our channel below for more of our video content. Thanks, bye.